Hi friends. The purpose of this video is my attempt to prevent any more ex-Christians who believe that much of the Bible and, quote, God are nothing more than sadistic fairy tales from taking on a full atheistic attitude and just forgetting it and leaving it all for good. It's very, very difficult to transition from being religious to being spiritual without religion. Many of us who have now left religion, we realize that the angry man in the sky was just created long ago in order to have people, quote, do the right thing or do what they should. But it was out of fear of death and punishment from an unknowable or unseeable God, some deity that was unreachable. It's kind of likened to telling our children, Santa Claus sees everything that you do all year long, and if you're not a good little boy or girl, then and do what's right and do the right thing, you're going to be punished at the end of the year and you won't receive any presents. It's the same sort of fear tactic being utilized, but the religious organizations were and are far more insidious with what, quote, sinners would receive in the way of their punishments. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to retain the messages and the life lessons within these religious writings and texts, but we need to eradicate or erase this fictional anthropomorphized concept or false image of God that man has created for himself in his own physical likeness and then worshipped. Scriptures will tell you in Exodus 20 verse 4 that you're not supposed to make for yourself an image or an idol or God in the form of anything in the heavens above or on the earth below or in the waters beneath. We're warned against it. So, if we were to replace this idol or this false image or concept of God with divine principles or natural law, which don't have a physical form or an image, then we do have something that we can describe as omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. By making this adjustment, the darkness will recede, and then many of these scriptures in the Bible will then begin to take on a peaceful, righteous context instead of that dark, sadistic, evil, or mentally unstable, bipolar God who sends conflicting messages and picks and chooses and has chosen favorite or chosen peoples. So let's briefly take a moment and go over these divine principles or laws that individually or as a whole, in my opinion, are the highest, quote, God. Number 1, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, and the universe is mental. Number 2, the principle or law of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. Number 3, the principle of vibration. Whereas nothing rests, everything is in constant movement, and everything vibrates. Number 4, the principle or the law of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles, and everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree, extremes, and all truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Number 5, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and then back in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and all things fall, and the pendulum swings, manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm always compensates. Number 6, the principle or the law of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to the law, and chance is but a name for the law that has not been recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. 7, the principle or law of gender. Gender is in everything, and everything has its masculine or its electric and feminine magnetic principle. Gender manifests on all planes. Now let's listen to a few scriptures that are seemingly confusing, but that we can demonstrate replacing this anthropomorphic, bipolar, evil God figure with a sound, righteous law or principle.
I am the Lord, and there is no other. There is no God besides me. I will gird you, though you have not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun to its setting, that there is none besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create calamity. I, the Lord, do all these things. Rain down, you heavens, from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open, let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, the Lord, have created it.
And now let's reread this with just a few adjustments. Number 1, I, the mind, collective or individual, form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the mind, do all these things. Number 2, as above, so below, as within, so without. I, the law of correspondence, form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the law of correspondence, do all these things. Number 3, the law of vibration forms the light and creates darkness. It makes peace and creates evil. I, the law of vibration, do all of these things. Number 4, polarity forms light and creates darkness. It makes peace and creates evil. I, the law of polarity, do all of these things. Number 5, I, the law of rhythm, form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the law of rhythm, do all these things. Number 6, the law of cause and effect definitely forms the light and creates darkness. It most certainly does make peace, and it does create evil. The law of cause and effect does these things. Number 7, I, gender, the masculine, electric, and feminine magnetic energy, form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the law of gender, electric and magnetic energies, working with or opposing against each other, do all of these things. Another example where people have inserted this false god or concept of God is found in Genesis 12, where it says, I will bless those who bless you, and the ones who curse you, I will curse. It is divine law, not a vengeful man in the sky playing favorites. Divine law, cause and effect, and correspondence will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you will be cursed according to these laws. So keeping in line with blessings and curses, we'll look at Romans 12, and it says, bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of a lower position, whatever capacity that may fall into. Do not be conceited, and do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God or divine law's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge, I will repay, says the Lord. So on the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. Because in doing this, you will heap burning coals upon his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Now, I've personally heard people use this scripture in an extremely malicious way, more than a few times. Believing if they show kindness to their quote enemy, that they'll get to play some kind of sick part in their enemy's punishment or torture. They actually believed that they're increasing the person's punishment in hell, as if like a perpetual fire pit torture, fire pit burning isn't sadistic enough. These people take joy and wish to take part in the torture and have actual hot coals be placed upon the head of their enemies while they're suffering in hell. It's a very, very dark-hearted place to be. And these people are clearly in fear themselves, in fear bondage under this concept of this man in the sky. So they're just projecting it onto other people. But my goodness, no. So I guess the term kill them with kindness really takes a dark turn in the minds of the people interpreting these verses in a literal way. The true meaning of placing hot coals upon the head of those who harm us can be found in Isaiah 6. In King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, and 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one cried to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the name of the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door were shaken by the voice of him who cried out, and the house was filled with smoke. So I said, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, unclean words. And I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a live coal, which he had taken with the thongs from the altar of the divine. And he touched my mouth with it, and then said, Behold, this has touched your lips. Your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is purged. So basically, the meaning of this in Proverbs, for thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head, means it's not to increase his punishment and damnation, and to make him more aggravated by the kindness that you've shown, but it's to bring him to a sense of his harmful words or thoughts and then actions, and then that bring a righteous shame. Shame is a bad word, I guess, but like a righteous shame, a righteous, a remembrance, so that the conscience plays a part, and then hopefully it leads to self-reflection, and then repenting, meaning changing the behavior, and hopefully it being purged completely. And by you being the person that's balancing the poles or these energies from somebody coming in at you, angry and upset and volatile, by you being soft-spoken and calm and compassionate and understanding and loving, you will be rewarded by divine law, because cause and effect, law of correspondence, like all of them come into play. You'll be rewarded by helping that person to hopefully break that bad habit or action. Honestly, this is real magic. People want to say, oh, I want to practice magic, or this is real magic. This purification process, it's achieved by utilizing these different laws, the laws of polarity and gender. I'll use it as examples, the electric and magnetic energy, because, like I said, when you respond in an opposite manner, responding calmly and compassionately when someone approaches us with anger and aggression, this causes that alchemical reaction, a drossing off of the base metals, quote metals, if you will, of the person's being, their spirit. This is true alchemical magic. And then once that starts, then this purification process begins, and hopefully, honestly, this coal placing, quote, coal placing process, it may have to be repeated several times by several different people in several different situations and scenarios before someone really might grasp it, and then progression is made. But little by little, those negative and harmful qualities will be burnt off and leave the person, quote, purified in his thoughts and his words and his actions. That's what this really means. This knowing or understanding of divine law is the foundation, in my opinion, of all of these scriptures. We can find innumerable examples of all of these that I've pointed out in scriptures, and they all act like a guide rail or like guardrails for us. It just continues to repetitively give the same message over and over and over again about these laws, but just explains it and says it in different ways and in different stories. But truly, that is the crux of all of the teachings. It's these divine laws or principles to keep us on the correct path. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on the cheek, turn them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do unto you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Because even sinners that love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, expecting to be repaid in full. But I say love your enemies, and do good to them, and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High divine law principles, because it is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. Be merciful, just as this law is merciful to you. Do not judge, and then you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and then you will not be condemned. Offer forgiveness, and you will receive forgiveness. Give, and whatever you give, it will be given back to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and pouring over, it will be poured into your lap. For with the measure that you give it, it will be measured back to you. And lastly, in conclusion, Romans. For there is no respect of persons with the divine principle or the divine laws. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before the law, but the doers of that law shall be justified. Cause and effect. Again, I'd like to apologize for the echoing audio. It was due to circumstances beyond my control, and I'm having to currently use my computer's internal microphone, so it won't pick up. It won't be loud enough for you to hear unless I turn it completely up, and then because it's turned completely up, it's giving an echoing effect. But I'll try to remedy that before any future videos. And until then, always remember, love yourselves. Be kind and love yourselves and love each other unconditionally.